Who is Prestor John? Well, for now, who are you? It's Prestor John Mansa Musa. It's Mansa Musa Montezuma. Is he King Solomon? Are they all contemporaries and one and the same? Has our timeline been added to? Has your map been flipped upside down? What do you want out of life? Answers? A place to ask questions. An opportunity to be hijack free. Who is Prestor John? Well, this is part 9. And we always enjoy relaxing and vibing in 432 hertz. Like pulling these up, finding everybody who's dropping that frequency. Because it's all about the vibration. You need vibration to forgive. You need vibration to love. You need vibration to comprehend. Vibration to see. Vibration to dream. To acknowledge. To accomplish. Oh, this vibration is deep. Now let's go. Empire of Magic, Medieval Romance, and the Politics of Cultural Fantasy by Geraldine Hang. In Egypt, where the Musa stayed for 3 months. The Mansa, the Musa. Remember Mansa Musa? Mooses and Mansas and Mansas and Mooses. Pictures of ancient black Buddha was a revolutionary freedom fighter against the Euro-Aryan Hindu caste system. So this Negro Buddha, remember this Buddha's a title. Remember all this hijack, this Atlantean hijack, but this particular, what they're calling Black Buddha, was a revolutionary freedom fighter against Euro-Aryan Hindu caste system that oppressed and exploited the indigenous black Indians. So we were fighting for freedom in Atlantis, fighting for freedom in India, China, Venue, Chile, America. But before we get too deep, just remember this. Musa, according to this good document here, translates to Moses. Musa Moses, or at least these titles are parallel, same as put, foot. Those are all the same, right? Merish, Meres, Mala, Wala, Mele, Musa Moses. Get the picture. Alright. So where Where Mansa stayed for 3 months, the Mali ruler magnanimously gave 50,000 dinars to the Sultan and thousands of ingots of raw gold to the shrines which received him and the officials who entertained him, causing the value of gold to fall by 10% to 25%, with the sudden glut and inflation to develop the image of Mansa's splendor. So this Mansa, when he gave all this raw gold, the value, he gave so much gold that the value fell by 10%, or 10%, then to 25%. It was just flooded with gold. Now you hear all this gold around this title of a priest, John. You hear the gold around the Solomon splendor. Has your timeline been flipped on you? I ain't gonna play it, but it's right here. You pull it up, parallel timeline. You know what they said? You know what they said? Alright, fine. I'll play 1 minute. Just for you.
The creators of modern chronology, namely Scaliger and Batavius, trying to astronomically solve the problem of those eclipses, were not able to do it without leaving out some of the data provided by Thucydides, who, by the way, says he was a witness of this. So what Pimenko did, he said, let's make no presuppositions about this. Where are the exact astronomical solutions for this triad of eclipses? There turns out to be one in the 11th century AD, and one in the 12th century AD, and no others. So what Pimenko does quite regularly is he will appeal to astronomical arguments to try to determine which is the principal one, and his conclusion, and however crazy it may sound, is extraordinarily well argued.
Go ahead.
Is that the only legitimate history is the modern history from about 300 on, and most of that, by the way, is from 900 on.
I played this so much that you know what we're getting at. And there's another video that we'll, get back to with the Russian chronographers verifying everything that was just laid out here. If you can hear that the only legitimate history is after the 900s, most of it. And that got us back into our King David letter of 1165 AD. Letter of King David. Is this a heir of King David? Was this a actual letter from the David dynasty? Was it a letter from King David or Solomon? But when we're talking about Mansa Musa, and we're talking about the gold with the sudden glut and inflation and developed, the image of Mansa's splendor reached Europe in Major Khan maps from the 1320s, the most lavishly in the Catalan Atlas of 1375, the ruler of Mali is portrayed like a Latin monarch, save only for his black face. Bearded, crowned, and throned. Bearded, crowned, and throned. Bearded, crowned, and throned. Always remember, we're just talking about Prestor John. Bearded, crown, blackface. Okay. So let's go. Mansa Musa, Mansa Musa. Musa's a title. Musa Moses, Musa Moses. Moses a title. So how are we going to do this? So abundant is the gold which is found in his country, said the Catalan Atlas of Mali's ruler, that this Lord is the richest and noblest king in all the land. Fernando Armesto observes that since the Maghribi Empire were the termini of the gold trade, new attempts mounted from within Latin Christendom in the middle and late 14th century. All right, so we're talking about this same dynastic kingdom, this letter from who? From what? All right, so this letter's popping up 1165. That's 12th century, so keep this in mind. Keep Prestor John in mind. Let's back up. Bearded, crowned, and throned with panoply of orb and scepters. Now we got this scepter. Pay attention to how much this scepter keeps popping up. This emerald scepter. Prestor John is said to have this emerald scepter. Mansa Musa is given this scepter. King Solomon has this scepter. He is perceived and presented as a sophisticate, not a savage, a sovereign equal in standing to any Christian prince. If the Catalan's depiction of the Mansa Musa seems strangely to coincide and resonate with the 14th century wish for an African Prestor John, so they're looking for this Abyssinian Prestor John in Ethiopia and all throughout Africa, and of course Columbus brings a Hebrew interpreter to find this Prestor John across the river from the Great Khan. Columbus brings his Hebrew interpreter to find Prestor John across the river from the Great Khan. Man, it's a mouthful. Mansa Musa strangely coincides and vibrates with the 14th century legend or myth or wish for an African Prestor John. So they say, you know, this legend about this guy strangely coincides and resonates with this guy. Very interesting, right? Let's keep going. Oh, yeah. You already know, man. Again, love the author Scott Jr., man, for getting the dice rolling on this joint, man. Too much fun digging in it. You know what I'm saying? Too much fun getting through this, man. And I got so much more to get through, man. We got so much great family sending us so much, wonderful links, man. So, you know who you are, man. Love to everybody. This particular document, man, is hard to find. And the brother Uno, man, I don't know where he found it, how he got it. But he pulled a wonderful source up for us. And every time I go in this glossary, I get more and more amazed. I can do a whole drop on this. But again, when you see Christians and they try to, hijack this Prestor John, they'll hijack Solomon to being a Christian. They'll hijack King David to being a Christian. All of our Israelite kings were Christians to them. But according to this Ospe, the words of Jehovah, and this glossary with all these symbols, Christians or Christians, a brotherhood of warriors that were named Christians in derision or mockery by the Hebrews, one who rushes into a multitude of rioters, savages, right, with the sword, enforces peace on these savages, these rioters. They're riding to Rome and to the crown over there, saying, oh, these people are nothing but rioters. They're just at war with each other. So they said, okay, well, since they're rioters, they're savages, take the sword, convert or die, enforce peace. This is a true Christian, one who, with the sword, enforces peace with the sword. Convert or die. That's a true Christian. A people whose faith is in arms or military might and standing armies. Guns, guns, guns. And all these words are synonymous, according to this document, with Christian. Brahma, Buddha, Christ, Christ, Baal, Asherah, Dagon, Vishnu, Ashdod, knowledge and wisdom are used synonymously in this way. Krishna, light, Po, Tien, Wa, Manito, and in fact a score of others. All right. Hold that, keep that in mind. Remember this Ewata. We're going to get into a whole chapter of this Ewata, a North American Indian, a kind of Abraham with whom he was contemporaneous, meaning living at the same time. So we have an Abraham over here in documents called Ewata, living at the same time as the biblical Abraham, and he's labeled a North American Indian. And you telling me this is play, and this ain't the old world? Man, let's keep going. You know, 'cause every time, man, I try to get through so much, and time just flies by. So I'm trying to just, when I say let's go, I'm really talking to myself, man, 'cause I want to cover so much. All these great chapters, man. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's get it. I just wanted to get to the first chapter. I wanted to read the very first and how this thing starts, just to let you know. We jumped into like page 700 and something last time. I'm going to the beginning of this book of Jehovah and his angel ambassador. All right. After the creation of man, the creator, Jehovah, hey, said unto him, that thou shalt know thou art the work of my hands. I have given thee capacity for knowledge, power, and dominion. This was the first error, but man was helpless, crawling on his belly, and he understood not the voice of the Almighty. And he called his angels, who were older than the earth. And he said unto them, go ye, raise man upright, and teach him to understand. And the angels of heaven descended to the earth and raised man upright. And man wandered about on the earth. This was the second error. All right, so either you believe that it all happened at once, that all the atoms were the same, that all of them were the image or signature, might have a few different rounds of this creation. This is now kind of letting you know, okay, these are different rounds. First error, second error, you know. You look it up. You know what I'm saying? Dodge the hijack. And the angels of heaven descended to the earth and raised man upright, and man wandered about the earth. This was the second error. Jehovah, as we know, said to the angels that were with him, behold, man hath multiplied on the earth. Bring ye them together, teach them to dwell in cities and nations. And the angels of taught the peoples of the earth to dwell together in cities and nations. This was the third error. And in that time, the beast, self, rose up before man. Self. See, that selfishness, that need to say that I need to be leader over you or better than you, or all that stuff, that's the beast. That's the beast. That self is the beast. Everyone has a journey to overcome that self. Rose up before man and spake to him, saying, possess thou whatever thou wilt, for all things are thine, and are good for thee. And man obeyed the beast, and war came into the world. This was the fourth error. All right, so this ain't got nothing to do with a serpent tricking Eve in a sense. It was a beast or self that rose up before man, saying, possess what you will, and all things are yours, and everything's good for you, and me, 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 me. All right, so let's keep going. And man was sick at heart, and he called out to the beast, saying, thou saidst, possess thyself of all things, for they are good for thee. Now behold, war and death have encompassed me about on all sides. I pray thee, therefore, teach me peace. Teach me peace, beast. But the beast said, think not I am come to send peace on the earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. Remember what a Christian is? Take that sword, get your peace with the sword. But a sword I come to set man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother. Whatsoever thou findest to eat, be it fish or flesh, eat thou thereof, taking no thought of tomorrow. You see, even in the New Testament, hijack, when he was talking about, you know what I'm saying, all the debates between eating meat, and Christians try to spin that to be, oh, it's just swine. But, you know, you say all meat's good and this, and this. I mean, this is where the doctrine's coming from. This beast telling you, whatsoever thou findest to eat, be it fish or flesh, eat thereof, take no thought of tomorrow. Separate validation outside of what many has been building, you know, with the Dr. Sebi diet and Professor Spirit diet, different things, man. Just that meat in general is dead flesh. You're eating dead energy. And man ate fish and flesh, becoming carnivores. This is the parasite. These are the parasites in you when you eat flesh. Vampires and darkness came unto him, and he no more heard the voice of Ahab and believed in him. This was the fifth error. Listen up. And the beast divided itself into 4 great heads. What are the 4 great heads? There's smaller heads too. But what are the great heads of the beast, according to this document? And possessed the earth about, and man fell down and worshipped them, all 4. And the names of the heads of the beast were Brahmin. Oh, we're going to get into this Brahmin. Buddhist. All these are synonymous with what? Christ, Christian, Christ. Brahmin, Buddhist, Christian, and Mohammedan are the 4 heads of the beast, according to this all-spay Book of Jehovah. And they divided the earth. Did not these religions and energies 440 hertz divide the earth and apportion it between themselves, choosing soldiers and standing armies for the maintenance of their earthly aggrandizement, their own gain, their own glory. And then it goes into, you know what I'm saying, how many each had. We're going to get, you know, much deeper, but I just wanted to let you know how this thing started. So, you know, we just belly flop into, you know, page 700 and something. I mean, this baby's in the beginning and the end. It's hijacks. It's hijacks throughout. We know that. So, what is the private conversation? What can we research? What are we bringing out? And here is the drop. Who are the heads of the beast? Where is the hijack? What's the head of the hijack? They divided the earth. Let's go. Now, in this book of Allspay, it speaks about Gautama. Let's get it again in the glossary. All right. Remember the shepherd kings, the Zoroastrians. We're going to get into Zoroaster, man. It's got to keep going. And remember the name Allspay. Allspay means sky, earth, and spirit. The all, the sum of corporal and spiritual knowledge as at present. That's what this book, that's the definition of the title of this book. But just for a second, remember this Gautama. Gautama, the cosmological name of America. Literally the last foundation, the last spirit foundation, the last revelation. It's all coming back here. This is the last stand. The cosmological name of America. So I just happened to type it in. I was looking and just came upon this map. North Gautama, South Gautama. And look at what Africa is called. Arabinia. Body bag. For the illusion. Arabinia? Arabinia? Man, that reminds me a lot about that Al-Kabulon map that has everything flipped the correct way, which to you would be upside down. This is upside down. And it has all these, pre-colonization names throughout Arabinia, and they're all, Arabic, titles for the most part. And now you see they found you in Gautama, Negro, and they took you from Gautama, Negro, and they took you here, Negro. And they took these people here, all the Negroes of Asia, capturing them throughout the Genghis Khan situation in the 1200s and before, and taking them and putting them here, taking them out of here, putting them here, which is why all these tribes are stacked on top of each other, speaking different languages. Look over here, you got Japheth. Remember, I was like, where are these other places located? So another map had Pan, P-A-N. See this area looks like something submerged right here. There is a huge continent here. Some call it Mu, others call it P-A-N, Pan. You have Japan over here. Japan, that P-A-N comes from Pan. Pan, they spoke a language called Panic. When you research the philology of it, it's a Panic language, Panic. And you have Pan here. Then you had the rest of this Atlantis here. It was sunk here. All these waters were unnavigable, and they just broke that navigation barrier in the 13th, 14th, 15th century, found you here, put you in slavery on your own land, and started shipping you here. Man, we've been spread to the four corners of the earth. But don't forget about the submerged lands that will reemerge when the water levels drop back down. Very interesting. Arabinia. See, Vendu, Japheth. So you got Japheth, Europa, Helest, Venu, and Arabinia. And that was their situation. But it all had origin here as Thoth. And all that Egypt and all that Africa business was here. You don't see it here. It wasn't here. It was here. Then they took it here. All right, let's go. Before I go crazy. So remember when we're talking about this noble image of Mansa Musa, just remember what Ronald Sanders says in Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. And you can get this right out the library. Go to the drop, 432thedrop.com. Go to the library and enjoy it. Free PDFs. Download them. In our time, get it bigger for y'all. Alright, in our time, we had saw that we wanted to leave a passionate desire to return to his country and came upon him. He went to ask leave of the Prestor and went with him, and we urged it with great insistence and begged it of him, yet no order was it ever given. So far it is known, Carvelahan ended his days in Ethiopia. He too was a living symbol of the demystification of the East, ending like the legend of Prestor John in the Abyssinian dust. Because they were looking for the kingdom, and every time they kept coming up short, they had to leave the legend in the Abyssinian dust. With that legend went for the time being. All hope of a noble image of the Negro. With that legend went for the time being all hope of a noble image of the Negro to counter the one that was coming with growing force out of West Africa. So what needed to be countered? What image was coming with a growing force out of West Africa that was making the noble image of Prestor John extinct? What was taking over this noble image of the Negro coming out of West Africa? It was the erasing. It was the erasing. Who is Prestor John? Now we keep teasing with this link, so let's just go get it, man. Let's just go get it. I'm gonna read it, and then we're gonna look some of this stuff up. Prestor John was Raja Hiraja Chola II, Prince Jaredon Bragratuni, the first Christian emperor. Every time you see Christian, just exit out for a second. We're trying to get to the bottom of things. The first emperor of the three Indias. He was the grandson, through his mother, of Kulatunga Chola II, the Cholan Soli emperor of the three Indias. His father was a Brugatuni Prince Atone of Osetes. Wikipedia states, according to historian in Sutherman, Raja Hiraja was not the direct descendant of Rajaraja Chola II, but was the son of his sister Rajaraja. Chola II chose Raja Hiraja as her heir in 1166, as he did not have any sons of his own. Okay, we're in that 12th century, right? So Prestor John was succeeded by his younger brother, Kulotunga, Chola III, when Prestor John retired to be a Christian monk. Remember the Monk Mound. And you wonder why it's called Monk's Mound. Remember T.B. Priestley, the tremendous drought. Coca Mounds. Kulotunga helped Prestor John's son, Vikarama Pandian, by his Pandian wife, to become the Pandian king. So he had a Pandian wife and he became Pandian king, Prestor John's son. We're going to look up this Pandian. Vikarama's son, Jatavarman, rebelled against his Cholan cousin. Now I know this looks crazy and sounds crazy, but that's why we've been setting this up. That's why this is part 9 of the investigation of Prestor John. Because for 8 parts, 2-hour drops, we've been setting this up. That's 16 hours of setup, just so you don't feel like it's absolutely crazy to start relating this stuff to what's happening with this India, and how this is all related. This venue, the hijack, whether he was hijacked or not, who is he? What is his bloodline? Is his bloodline a hijack, or was he hijacked personally? You know what I mean? Or did he get hijacked by this historical timeline business? Alright, so Vikarama's son, Jatavarman, rebelled against his Cholan cousins, but was defeated and submitted to Cholan overlordship. Jatavarman's brother, Maravarman, on succeeding him, attacked the Cholans and became the emperor of the three Indies. Is this play? He restored the policy of religious tolerance in the empire like his grandfather Prestor John. Religious tolerance. Does it mean that he restored the law? Or he's just talking some Christian stuff? However, his son Merivarman Sundara II was defeated by Rajendra Chola III, the grandson of Kulatunga Chola III. Merivarman's the second son, Jatavarman III, seized back the throne of the three Indias. His son Maravaramban was killed by his illegitimate son Veera when he declared his legitimate son Sundara as his heir. Civil war broke out and Sundari asked for Muslim help. The Muslims eventually seized power for themselves. Remember Prestor John, he was taking out a lot of Persian armies. Sundara's daughter, who married the Australian Javanese king of the Rubani, Gadi, and Mani, is proclaimed empress of the three Indias, and from 1350 to 1530, her descendants who followed an Indianized Jewish Christian faith reigned as the Prestor Johns, or Pandian emperors of the three Indies. Wow, man. You ain't gonna learn this on CNN, tell you that much. So, this empress and her family, but they followed an Indianized Jewish Christian faith. So now we got this Jew business. Now we got all these code words for Israelite. Indianized Jewish Christian faith. What the fuck is that? Who can tell me what an Indianized Jewish Christian faith is? I'll wait. When they make it that confusing, you know they're hiding something. So it appears that they're restoring some version of the law, reigned as the Prestor Johns. And because they're reigning as Prestor Johns, it would seem that he also rocked some version of the law. Or Pandian emperor of the three Indies, huh? Alright, so Raja Chola II, Jaradan, the first Prestor John. So he's the first Prestor John, right? So just like we're saying, this is a title. That's not his name. So is it crazy to throw out David and Solomon? Well, let's see. Because David and Solomon keep popping up, but we're trained to think this is just play. The so-called Voynich manuscript is a 15th century copy of the original, which was written by him in the 12th century. Whoa! There's something called the Voynich manuscript. And they're saying it is written by this by Prestor John. In the 12th century, it says the language is a Hebreo-Georgian Indian language of the royal house. All right. So what are we talking? Sanskrit Indian? Or, which way you want to go with this, George? Oh, and George does play. King George does play. This Georgian, remember Georgia and Russia, remember Rus, remember the House of Ross, Clan Ross. Remember Russia's named after Rus. Rus is Ross, Clan Ross. Remember the Picts. Remember their origin here in the Hyborian map here. I don't got time to keep going back. You gotta surf the wave. So we're not playing because this Hebreo keeps popping up. Indianized Jewish Christian faith is popping up. Let's keep reading. Right quick. I know I put it up for a reason. I'm just gonna drop in this, man. I ain't even gonna take no time on it. Is there really a PDF? Is there if there's a Voynich manuscript PDF, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind, man. You can download them here. Get the fuck out of here. You silly guys, what are you talking about? That's pretty crazy. There's a manuscript written by Prestor John. How come nobody told me? How come none of y'all told me there was a manuscript written by this guy? We could have been digging this. The Vonic manuscript is written in an unknown alphabet. An unknown alphabet? Well, you know what I'm saying? According to my mans. Where's we at, y'all? Don't you play. Nah, it's not unknown. According to this dot, the language is a Hebreo-Georgian Indian language. That's unknown. Well, that sounds crazy. Hebrew, Georgian, Indian, Jewish, Christian, Indianized. You see what they doing to you? What are they hiding? What's going on? So this Vonic manuscript is written by in an unknown alphabet. Not a living soul knows what it means. During centuries, top military code breakers, linguists, historians, and laymen have tried to decipher it. All failed. People have gone insane in their obsessions trying to figure it out. It dates back to early 15th century. Enjoy the meticulous illustrations of botanical fantasies. Botanical fantasies, or is this some other level of vibration that's supposed to be waking you up right now, that you're supposed to be stumbling on right now? Oh man, please tell me I can download this, man. Come on, man. Come on, baby. It's me, baby. It's me, baby. Please let me download you, man. Come on, man. Hey, something's loading up. So I'm going to fall back and drink some water. Y'all keep enjoying that harp piano in 432, playing gently on your cochlea, in your left eardrum and right eardrum like that. Man. I just really hope this is the real deal. It's taking a long time to download, though. I mean, upload. I ain't even started downloading. But maybe that's a good thing. All right, so let's keep that. Let's keep them dice rolling while we wait for this Vonic manuscript, supposedly written by the Prestor John Raja Chola II. All right, crazy, right? So his son, by his black Panian wife, was King Vikrama Pani. He had at least 3 sons by his Jewish wife, Lady Gaveret Hannah. Jewish wife or Hebrew wife? Alright, wait. So Prestor John's son by his Panian wife is King Vikrama. And then it said he had at least 3 sons by his Jewish or Israelite wife, Hannah, Lady Hannah. Alright. Now one of his sons is David Soslan, became a Babylonian exilarch and the husband of Queen Tamar of Georgia. His son Hannah became prince or king of the Jews of Tahama. King of the Jews, Israel. And then his son Solomon was the Jewish prince or king of Talmus. Whoa. Now I know, you can name your child anything, a bunch of Solomons and Davids, and I know they do that and all that. Well, let's just surf the wave. I mean, all I want to do with you today, all I want to do with you tonight, is surf the web. Now, in 1165, this king right here, consequently, it seems somewhat suspect for historians and theologians to confer historical validity to the existence of King David II. while maintaining his ancestor King David never existed, the inquiring mind would immediately ask why. The researcher of history will find references to the 12th century King David, ranging from Christian patriarch to Mongol ruler. The researcher of hidden history, I guess that's us, Drop Nation. We're researching hidden history. We'll find references to the 12th century King David. We're looking for it. Ranging from Christian patriarch. Prestor John was a Christian patriarch. I told you they'll make even King David a Christian patriarch. So Prestor John's being made a Christian patriarch. To a Mongol ruler. To Mongol ruler. You remember the, where's that link? You're up. Now this says Genghis Khan's foster father Ong Kong as Prestor John in Le Livre de Merveilles, 15th century. We're talking 15th century. We're still here. Mongol ruler, he's the foster father. Genghis Khan's foster father, he's Ong Khan. Khan's a title. So this old drop paints him as the foster father being taken down by his foster son, who basically hijacks his title and all that stuff. Hold up, man. Did our thing? Oh. Wait a minute. Is this the drop? Is this the drop? Don't you play? Oh, man. I think they trying to play, y'all. That's it. That ain't even right, y'all. What they doing to me ain't even right, man. Now I gotta wait again, huh? Yeah, they had it up, but it was like hella small. Let's see if we can get a better copy of it. I ain't gonna take too much time, like I said. Let's just go to the first one. Not be complicated. Okay. What's going on? It's as big as I can get it. Alright, so this is in Yale University, y'all. This is supposed to be the Vonic manuscript. Let me bookmark this right now. And, you know, of course, we probably can't read it because it's in some crazy Hebrew, Indianized, Indian. But if you can kind of see and make it out a little bit. It's a lot of photos, a lot of pics. I'll just scroll through it quickly, and you know this is drop. You know this is drop, and even if you cannot make it out, somehow these pictures go a long way. So, anyone, let me know if you can find a downloadable version of it. This is pretty amazing, as you can see. And I'm glad that we stumbled on this together. So this is supposed to be the manuscript of Prestor John. Wow. Wasn't expecting that. So Raja Haraja, Chola II, Jeradon, his son David Sloson became the Babylonian exilarch and the husband of Queen Tamar of Georgia. His son Hannah became Prince King of Jews of Tohama, and his son Solomon was the Jewish prince of King Talmus, who married Queen Limbu. Limbu, like the Limbu tribe, Labana of Rubani, all these Jews, Israelite hidden origin, right? Now check this out. Check this out. I see some Vishnu drop. Okay, it's getting good. It's getting good. Vikrama Pandyan, now this is the son of Prestor John, was assisted by his cousin Kulutunga Chola II, the Hindu emperor of the three Indias, to gain the Pandyan throne. Vikrama was the protector of Christians. Watch out for the hijack, and resisted the approaches of the Muslims for him to convert. The form of Christianity they, the Pandyan Prestor Johns, followed was expressed in terminology drawn from the Hindu tradition. We're going to get a little bit into this document called the Hindu Americas and how they basically try to, claim credit for civilizing America a long time ago, but we know them as also the connection to the Atlantean situation that hijacked America. So either you civilize Guatemala, all right? Did you civilize Guatemala? These Vindus, these Vindias, you know what I mean? Was it all just leftover hijack? Was there some babies in the bathwater that they left behind that's connected to, you know what I'm saying? Remember, you go to India, you ask for the Indians, to them, they'll go find some people that look like Negroes. Not Africans, Negroes. They'll go to these little, outskirt spots, desolate spots where there's tribes of Negro-looking people, saying that those are the Indians. So how does that connect to Vindu, Guatemala? It gets good. So the form of Christianity, right? So you see that's a hijack. So there's a form of it now, right? Like the Nestors, they, the Pandyan Prestor Johns, followed was expressed in terminology drawn from the Hindu tradition, just as the Christians of the West saw the mythologies and legends of the Greeks and Romans as seeds of the gospel. So these Christians saw the Hindu writings as seeds of the truth. They developed the ideas of Vishnu and Krishna in a Christian direction, where Krishna was identified with Christ and Vishnu as the supreme deity, of which Krishna was the incarnation of Vishnu. Krishna is the Lord himself. Lord, like Lord God, the grades of the angels, the hierarchy of the angels, Lord God, all that. Krishna is the Lord, right? So the idea of the 10 avatars of Vishnu originates in the Kabbalistic idea of the 10 Sephirot. The concept of Devi, Mother Goddess, is close to the idea of Sophia in the West. Sophia in the West. Radha is connected to the Holy Spirit. Whoa. So all of their Christian drop is coming out the Hindu drop, which is why, I'm glad I kept this up, man. I just want to thank everybody for learning with me, man. If you are learning with me now, if you've been learning with me, man, for years, going back to the, beginning of the radio platform, and thank you for being patient, while things get set up for that. You know what I mean? So we got to do it right. But, I'm learning. I'm not here to teach you. I'm not your teacher. I'm your brother. I am flawed. I'm learning to be whole with the Creator. So accept me for my flaws, accept me for the truth. But I'm learning with you. So if you learned with me before, you learned with us before, you ain't learning with us no more. Thank you for learning with us before. If you haven't started really learning nothing with us yet, we look forward to learning with you. And if you're learning, you surfing this wave, then man, pull out your best surfboard and get up on it. Get up on it. So yeah, just remember that Algonquin, United States of North American Indians, before their destruction by the Christians. That's Algonquin, the United States of North American Indians. This is just a glossary of the strange words used in this book. Don't trip. Bra or Brahmin. Wisdom, knowledge, right? They said all that's synonymous with Christ. According to what they're saying, Bra was the founder of Brahmanism, contemporaries with Abram or Abraham. So we need to get to the bottom. Is Bra contemporaries with Abraham, or is one, hijacking the other? What's really going on with this bruh? What's going on with this bruh? Every time you see synonymous with warrior, they're just talking about warrior as in the Christian brotherhood of warriors. With the sword, they enforce peace. Remember Christ. All the words synonymous with Christ. Wisdom, knowledge, education. The god Luamang. Remember we were talking about this Luamang? He's the false god Christ. Falsely took this name. It became synonymous with warrior. Brotherhood of warriors. With the sword they enforce peace. Brahma, Buddha, Christ, Christ, Baal, Asherah, Dagon, Vishnu. This link got a lot of drop right here, man. So they're saying all this stuff is coming, all this Christian hijack is coming from this Atlantean Vishnu, Thoth, Bra. Wait. What are the four heads again? What are the four heads of the beast? Shall we remind Drop Nation the four great heads of the beast are and the names of the heads of the beast were Brahmin, Buddhist, Christian, Mohammedan. They divided the earth and apportioned it between themselves. The form of Christianity they follow was drawn from the Hindu tradition. So the three Indias, so they're saying that this is coming out the Hindu tradition now. Before we just discard everything that Prestor John's connected to as this Hindu hijack. Let's see which part of this, which part of the wave this is really connected. As we see it keeps getting connected to this Israelite ancestry. You see this Jewish thing keep coming up. So, how now? You have to say, well, how does this Israelite situation really connect with the Hindu situation? We're going to get right into a little more of what we were getting before out of that. Hold on to your rain boots. It's going to be a lot of drop. So Krishna was identified with Christ, Vishnu as the supreme deity. This is how they got by with their Coptic situation. This is how they got by. This is why they survived and weren't destroyed. Remember, the Pope went against everybody who was enemies of Christ, so they had to find a way. He said, no, we're the root of it all. We're Krishna. Vishnu's the supreme. All right? The idea, so Raha is connected to the Holy Spirit, who is seen as the feminine in the many Jewish texts. After the ascendancy of Hinduism in 1308, this Christian Indianized theology was re-assimilated back into Hinduism with its followers. He had two sons, Jatavarman and Kulek Sherkaran and Mara Varman. Sundara Panyaman won by his wife, who was a Christian, Charan, princess of Quelan, Vanad, and Kerala. Krishna, or Christian, what part of the hijack are we talking about? Okay. So it goes a little more into the family lineage. I want to see if there's something else I want to get here before I keep it rocking. Keep it rocking. You know how I like maps, man. I see a map, I gotta click it, man. So this says land of Benjamin. Gad. Baby Sheba. Master Rock. Sambala. West coast of Australia, pre-1530s. So on the west coast of Australia, pre-1530s. Wow, so this is supposed to be Australia. And this is Ophir here, putting Ophir here. Gad here, they're saying this is all an inland sea. Land of Benjamin sunk 535 AD. The land of Benjamin sunk right outside of Australia. Is this play with Gad right here? Oh man, this is crazy. Alright, this is getting crazy. This is getting crazy. King of Heber. Alright. Okay. Let's take it all the way back up. Alright, so we got this Raja Chola situation. Alright, so first thing, man. Let's come over here right quick. This is a site called Genie.com, Genie.com, in which you can pretty much, trace some type of obscure lineages. And I keep saying this Georgia thing, and again, we talk about the Georgia, Russia, Rus, Clan Ross situation. It seems to be a possible connection with this lineage of this, so-called priest John or David or Solomon line, with this Clan Ross line, with this House of Andros, bloodline. Everything that's connected over there seems to be connected over here as far as the bloodlines are concerned. The fights that are going on here seem to be going on there. Whether it's the Jacobite uprising or, whatever the case is. Rusudan. See, I've been fishing for dynamite. Tamar, Queen of Georgia. And the husband of Queen Tamara of Georgia, his son David Soslan became Babylonian exilarch and the husband of Queen Tamar. So that's David Soslan, is the son of Prestor John. So they're calling him Soslan, David Soslan. So who's this David Soslan? Apparently he's the son of Prestor John or Solomon or David. But he's David. Remember we were talking about in our journey in the land of Prestor John. Oh, they started me from the top. They started me from the top. We'll get back into it. I gotta get that page number again, but oh, it was Prestor John at last. Let's go to that. Oh, my memory's not that bad after all. All right, let's go to 76. It's very important, so, you know, oh, these maps, keep going. Let's go. I'm a map fiend. I'm just gonna start drawing my own maps, man. So let's just start doing it. So remember, Prestor John at last. Prestor John lived in a tent. Throughout the vastness of his empire, he had no fixed abode, but perambulated his nomadic court according to the exigencies of politics of war, and they're calling him by this name, Lebna, Dangel, Dewit was the young ruler's name. Dawit is David, as it figures in Ethiopian chronicles, but his Portuguese contemporaries simplified it to David. His Portuguese contemporaries, or the hijacks, just simplified it. Instead of calling him his full Lebna Dango Dawit, just call him David. Nice and easy. As for the fancy title bestowed on him by European imagination that died hard, the Moors and Abyssinians called him Emperor. So he's Emperor to them, Emperor David to them, Emperor David to them. The emperor at this time was 20 years of age. Old Queen Helena's tutelage was a thing of the past. The dowager still lived at court, but in retirement. Young David, like his namesake, we're just talking Prestor John. Young David, like his namesake, an alleged ancestor, had embarked early on military career, Abyssinia. So now they're calling him David, like his namesake, by his heritage of the line of David, an alleged ancestor. All right, I know we're floating, you know, we got like 10 books going all at once in this investigation and lots of great links. But, you know, it's your fault, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a Drop Nation, man. It's your fault, man. So we got this Tamir, who's the daughter or the wife of David Soslan of Georgia. And it says it right here, David Soslan of Georgia. So we click on that. David Soslan of Georgia. This is supposed to be the son of Prestor John of Georgia, House of Ross, Rus. Don't let the Georgia fool you. We're just talking Russia. We're just talking Asia. Son of Prince Jardaran of Alania and Princess Rusadan, mother of David Soslan, king of Georgia, husband of Tamar. So Prince Jaradan, just like they're calling it here. Prestor John was Raja Hiraja Chola II, Prince Jaradan Bragruntuni. Wow. Prince Jaradan Ragatuni. Let's take this over here. Let's click on Prince Jaradan of Alania. Man, it's a pretty dope site, man. Geni.com, Geni.com. Prince Jaredon of Alania. Look at where he lived when he lived. 1042 to 1165. That's right around the 1162. So that's right around the 1165 mark with the letter of King David. Right around that mark. Give or take 3 years. Husband of Princess Rushadon, mother of David Slauson, King of Georgia, father of David Slauson, father of David Slauson, King of Georgia. So Prince Jaredon of Alania is Prestor John. Now we know he's a king, right? So all these titles, man. So that sends us on a little bit of a rabbit chase when we're going to try to understand this Jaredon, this situation. Even when you go to Wikipedia on this thing, I don't know if I pulled it up here. Don't know if I got it up here. Let's just Wikipedia. David Slauson. You can say Georgia if you like. Now we know Wikipedia is full of shit. But sometimes you get something, man. Sometimes you get something, man. Sometimes you get something, man. So they got David IV, the Bragatuni dynasty. Who's these Bragatunis? King of Kings, David. King of Kings, David. They couldn't even front. They still gotta, keep his melanin on them. Even though they iconoclast and start to whitewash his image. Successor is Demetrius, so they're calling his son Demetrius. That's another name for, I guess, David Slauson. Must also be Demetrius the First, or one of them. Or the brother of Demetrius the First. Also known as David the Builder. Have you heard of him? King of Kings of Georgia, or Russia. Remember, there's a very expensive book called Russian Icons, where they'll show you the actual Byzantine paintings and all the black noble images that were painted and the frescoes that were destroyed by all the conquering. No one wanted, they erased black Russia, they erased black Europe, they erased all that, especially throughout World War I and World War II. Later, they were destroying all that stuff. But of course, before then, the Renaissance, we already know that. So this David IV, also known as David the Builder of the Bragationi dynasty. Let's keep going. Popularly considered to be the greatest and most successful Georgian ruler in history and original architect of the Georgian Golden Age. He succeeded in driving the Turks out the country. So he's against the Turks. Against the hijack, winning the Battle of Digori in 1121, he reformed the army administration, enabled him to reunite the country and bring most of the lands of the Caucasus under Georgia's control. So they ruled over the Caucasus, a friend of the church. So they always want to make them Christians, right? A friend of the church and noble promoter of Christian culture, right? Okay. He was canonized, right? So now he's an Orthodox, and now he's canonized, and now he looks like them. But here's the drop. King of Kings, King of Kings, King of Kings. Family background. David bore the name of the biblical king prophet from the Georgia Bagratids, claimed their descent, from whom the Georgia Bagratids claimed their descent, and whose 78th descendant David was proclaimed to be. So whether this is the David, or someone close up in the dynasty, or someone who's just, following some lineage, just like the Abyssinians and the Ethiopians and the Queen of Sheba lineage, right? Life of King of David, according to the life of Kings, David, King of Kings. Doesn't Prestor John always, call himself the King of Kings? Aren't all these people King of Kings? Mansa Musa King of Kings? How many King of Kings as rich as a mug are there? But you see how they are going back to the biblical king prophet. Descendant David was proclaimed to be. Claim their descendant, the Rakatunis. Alright. Bagratuni dynasty. Look at their shield. Here we go again with these lions, right? You already know where they're getting at. You already know what they're getting at. Being among the oldest extant Christian ruling dynasties in the world. Come on, man. They keep putting it there for you. They keep trying to cross you over. But what's it to it? So they're just fighting, all the hijacks, apparently. They're part of this noble family. And again, tradition has it that of 7 refugee brothers of the Davidic line, 3 of them settled in Armenia, and other 4 arrived in Kartli, also known as Iberia, where they intermarried with the local ruling houses and acquired some lands and hereditary possessions. So, according to this, these were 3 refugee brothers of the Davidic line. So they're calling after this David. Now they could be David, or they could be, of the line. Either way, we're talking Israel here. The tradition enjoys general acceptance up into the 20th century. While the Jewish origin, let alone the biblical descent of the Bakradids, has been largely discounted by modern scholarship. So what are we counted for, according to modern scholarship, as black people? So this modern scholarship, and largely discounted, doesn't mean it was discounted by everybody, which is why you always gotta look for that minority report. So the Bakradids were largely, but not fully, discounted by modern scholars, but not the older, ancient scholars. Their origin still remains controversial. So they still don't know. Well, Dad, you can't tell them who they are. How can you tell them who they're not? Alright, so just wanted to look into a little bit of that. Remember this Voynich manuscript. Let's see how we're doing. Oh man, we're great. We're covering a lot of ground real fast. I'm not doing too much, side noting on y'all. I'm just kind of going right in, man. So again, Prestor John, Raja Hiraja, Prince Jaredon Bagratuni. We just got into the Bagratuni's of Georgia. So they're saying Prestor John, King David, is of the Bagratuni, who are of the Davidic lines. So either way, we're following the Davidic line, but I'm just talking about this, timeline situation. And this timeline situation plays. Oh boy, does this timeline situation play. You know what I mean? So you got it there to remind you. You know what I mean? You got it there to remind you. Alright, what's this? I had this here for a reason. Don't snap me. Let's go. This is another great link. I'm getting, peace to everybody sending me these wonderful links, you know what I'm saying? And keep it coming, you know what I'm saying? This is your drop, for you, by you. Preface to the present edition. This is out of the sacred text, the Kebra Nagast, E.A. Wallace Budge. A lot of people dig on this E.A. Wallace Budge scholar, right? This Abyssinia. I have a book by him. The whole Abyssinian drop, you know what I mean? So I'll be dropping that more to come. Sorry, this is a little small, but it says, when the English tradition of the Book of the Glory of Kings appeared in 1922, it received a generous welcome from the gentlemen of the press, and the approval of it by the public generally was shown by the fact that within 2 months from the day of publication, a reprint was called for. The amusing and interesting character of the book, which piles up fantasy or fancy tales, fables, legends, folklore, dogma, mysticism, and pious remarks on the substratum of historical fact was frankly admitted by all the reviewers, but a few of them raised the question of the historicity of the Book of the Glory of Kings. It must be said at once that we shall never know whether the queen who visited Solomon was a pure-blooded Abyssinian or an Arab queen from Yemen or Hadramaut. So they're saying Queen Solomon, Queen Sheba could have been an Arab queen, which is also talking about melanated family. But was she a melanated Arab queen from Arabinia? Arabinia? Or was she a full-blooded Abyssinian? Was she just mixed multitude? Remember the etymologies? That's a fun word, man. Etymologies. Abyssinia? Oh, I know I can't spell. You want 2 S's? I'll give you 2 S's. You want 2 S's? I'll give you 2 S's. Old name for Ethiopia, 1630. So this predates Ethiopia. It was Abyssinia, from modern Latin Abyssinia, from Habasa, Arabic. The name of the region said to be from Amharic, mixture. Is this a mixture of angels? Is this a mixture of, just other type hijack? Or are we talking mixed multitude, like the mixed multitude leaving out of Egypt? I'll be seeing you, Abyssinia. Falasha, dark-skinned Jewish tribe of Abyssinia. They're known as the Abyssinian Jews. Exiled, wanderer, immigrant, Falasha, wanderer. Negus, my nigga. Negus, title of the ruler of Abyssinia, from Amharic Nagush, king. What up, king? What up, Negus? Ruled, force, ruled. Kebra-Nagast. So was this Sheba a pure-blooded Abyssinian or an Arab queen from Yemen or Hadramaut or some other part of the great Arabian Peninsula? But the tradition that some queen of the south did visit Solomon is so old and so widespread that a kernel of historical fact, however small, must be hidden somewhere in it. Must be some babies in that bathwater. It would not surprise me if Sidney Smith or C.J. Gadd one day published in the great corpus of cuneiform texts from the tablets in the British Museum a Sumerian or Babylonian inscription telling how some great queen from latter-day India paid a visit to a king of one of the city-states like Etana or Mesanapada, or the great Sargon or God, to be instructed in the wisdom and civilization of his day. So was she from India? The story of such a visit would be noise abroad among the nations around the caravan men and the scribes of the day would incorporate it in historical romances. It is quite possible that the story of Solomon and Queen Sheba is based on one which is far older. Something like this has actually happened with the history of Gilgamesh. Let's get it. A king of Uruk. In the Ethiopian history of the exploits, Alexander the Great, in the latter work, the scribe tells us how the Macedonian king sought for the waters of life, fountain of youth, waters of life, and how he made his way through impenetrable forest and arrived at the sea of the waters of death, and how he tried to fly up into heaven, all of which is described in the epic of Gilgamesh, the prototype of Alexander to the scribe. The meeting of Gilgamesh with Sudori, the Sabitu, inner innkeeper, alewife, finds its counterpart in the meeting of Alexander with Kudaka, Candace, the queen of Ethiopia, which country, by the way, Alexander never invaded. Alexander found such favor with Kundaka that she invited him to her private apartments and shared her bed with him. The beauty of Kundaka overcame Alexander, just as the beauty of Makeda overcame Solomon, or Sheba overcame Solomon. I'm not going to try to find it now, but, go back to the last part 8 when we were reading in Land of Prestor John, where it actually seemed like it was calling Alexander, or Prestor John Alexander. And how the timelines are on top of each other. So this Alexander the Great had the same situation with this Ethiopian queen. That's all I gotta say. And now Solomon had the same situation. Did Prestor John have the same situation? I mean, if we're saying that he's the husband of Princess Rusudan, who's Princess Rusudan, right? Who's this Princess Rusudan? Is she a contemporary of this? Solomon, Sheba, Prince Jaredon, Rusudan. All right, let's keep going. We got a few more minutes here. We're doing a great job tying it all together. It's only part 9. Don't trip. Don't trip. Be water. Alright, so the object of the Ethiopian scribe, ancient or modern, was to make a good story, and he never allowed facts or anachronisms or names of persons or place or even possibility or probability to hamper him. The next question is, how far are the Abyssinians justified in claiming definite kinship with the Semites or Shemites? A lot of people had this question. These Ethiopians to claim, okay, we all come from this Menelik, Sheba line, and not even, try to look for the other lines of Solomon, the other, noble heirs, other than the Queen of Sheba. All the other wives he had, all the Hebrew family he had, So instead of following one line from Sheba, well, that only benefits the Abyssinians. Are they truly heirs to the throne? Being Abyssinian, Sheba, whatever, that is. So let's go. There's little doubt the aboriginal inhabitants of Abyssinia were Negroes. The original inhabitants of Abyssinia were Negroes or Negroids who came from the valley of the Nile. All right, let's just surf the wave. We're about to be in Africa. We know our history here. We know the Mississippi River and the Nile River have a lot in common. At a very early period, which must be called prehistoric tribes and peoples who lived on the western side of the peninsula of Arabia, made their way across the sea from Asia into Africa in the south to some place like Babel, Babel, in the north, and some place in the peninsula of Sinai. And this way, the influence of Asiatic peoples entered Abyssinia. So now we have Asiatics entering Abyssinia, like a section of the Hamites, whose language was akin to that of the Libyans, Berbers, Egyptians, brought into Abyssinia, language which for convenience we may call Ethiopic. Though it is more correct name is Cushite, the translator of the Bible into Ethiopic identified quite incorrectly Abyssinia with Cush, the Hebrew name for the country which we now call Nubia. So now you call it Nubia, but it was once called Cush, or Ethiopia, or Abyssinia, quite incorrectly Abyssinian with Kush. So they're saying it was an incorrect identification between Abyssinia and Kush, which is the Hebrew name for a country now called Nubia. Owing to the intermingling of Shemites, Semites, and Hamites, a Semitic element entered the Hamitic language at a very early period. The northern part of Abyssinia, that is the mountainous section of it, became the principal settlement of the Shemites, who are known as Agaw, A-G-A-W, and from them were probably descended many of the Phoenicians or Abyssinian Jews. In the 11th or 12th century before Christ, watch out for the hijack and the timelines, a further invasion of Abyssinia by Asiatic Semites took place, and it was they who taught the Abyssinians the elements of civilizations. The Semites, the principal tribe of the invaders, was called Habasha, and they came from Yaman in western South Arabia. They gave the name Habesh to this part of Africa in which they settled, and it is from this that the modern name Abyssinia is derived, Habesh or Habasha. The immigration of Semites from Asia went on steadily during the following centuries, and newcomers introduced the writing which was current at the time in Arabia and trades, arts, crafts. 2 or 3 centuries before the Christian era, they succeeded in forming a kingdom. The capital was Aksum. The Shemites, Israel, who settled in Upper, Middle, and Lower Abyssinia, Ethiopia, became merchants, traders, and such trade and commerce as existed at the time. They were originators and organizers. The Semites who settled in and about Aksum were known as Asian. The free is called. The free. The language they spoke is called Ge'ez, now frequently called Ethiopian. From this is derived the modern language of Tigray called Tigrina. The language of the Semites in Middle and Lower Abyssinia is known as Amharina or Amharic. The Abyssinians at that period had no literature before the Semites came. Look it up. Check the details of the downfall of the Semitic kingdom, which has Aksum for its capital, are wanting, but we know that its successor was ruled by kings who were pagans. Among these were Aphilas, Endibes, Alemides, Ella, Amida, the father of Zana. The father of Zana of the Greeks, who reigned in the first half of the 4th century of our era. Zana, who has been called the Constantine of Abyssinia, was the greatest king of Abyssinia known in history, and he adopted Christianity as the national religion of his country. So it was adopted into Abyssinia. And that's when all this, that's when it got crossed back into the Krishna situation. With the coming of Christianity, Abyssinia literature came into existence. From the facts summarized briefly in the preceding paragraphs, it is clear that the Abyssinians or Ethiopians as a people themselves prefer to be called or more to the Semites, than the Hamites or Negroes or Egyptians or Greeks or any other people with whom they came into contact in prehistoric or historic periods. So we of course know that these Negroes are Hebrews, are Shemites. But, we're dodging the hijack. When these Christians write things, they take the Negro and they want to put them next to the Hamites and put them in there. When we know Ham is Cham, and we know that we are the copper color races here. And they never doubt that Solomon was the father of the son of Queen Sheba. Alright, so it's going to get into that. I just want to keep surfing because there's more to get here. I might have to get it next time because I want to cover some more stuff. So, alright, so we're just getting started. In this little drop. I'll keep that going for us, man. Remember, we're only talking about Prestor John. We're only talking about Lebna Dango DeWeet. We're only talking about young David for his namesake and alleged ancestor. So if we got a little bit, Got about 10 minutes or so. Getting myself prepared for a wonderful dismount. We're going to get a little bit into this Hindu America. Just a taste of it. Excuse me while I get our little lifeline going for 10 more minutes. A-OK on the battery pack. And it's nothing more comforting, man, than journeying with, like-minded, like-energy folks. So when I say I love y'all, man, I really mean that, because without y'all, shit, I might just be in the void, all lonely. All right, so we're going to touch a little bit on this Hindu America, just to let you know it ain't play. And of course, we got to dodge the hijack. Now, this is an article. It's a little blurry, but I'm just going to get to it. And who discovered America? I mean, this is cold work. Now, of course, they're going to try to just give you hijack images still. But look at this guy, Frontier, Gandhi type. So you know what this is, Gandhi type. India, right? Is not this picture from Central America very similar to that of Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, popularly known as Frontier Gandhi? So this guy in Central America looks very similar to Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. So they're trying to say, oh yeah, well, that's the connection. And hey, yeah, but they're also going to, of course, try to get all the credit, say that they're the indigenous and these people are the indigenous and all that crap, right? But we know the truth, man. We know the truth. So let's just check out this part right quick. Okay, let me get one page back. All right, let's go. Let's make our dismount. We are in Hindu America. I will leave the link. We'll definitely be getting a lot more out of this. Dodge the hijack as usual. Who discovered America? Just want to start at a good place, man. All right, so the research into man's presence in the New World is very interesting, and the reader will come across some fantastic theories. Remember, you're just a theory to them. And all of your leaders, all of your last Negro noble images are mythology to these people, advanced by various scholars in their zeal to justify their imagination. But it is not conjectures and suppositions that we can arrive at a solution of this great mystery, identity, or at least similarities in facial appearance, food, clothing, religion, customs, habits, above similarity in basic philosophy and culture must decide the issue. So they're going to try to find the similarities between mainly this hijack, Mongolian, Atlantic, Vishnu, Chan, and the modern North American image. You're going to try to tie the Aztecs and all that, so let's just see what this says. I'm actually going to go right here. In Mexico, there were white races, all right. Yellow race, okay. With almond-shaped eyes. Oh, then we got brown races and the black race. So we do have brown and black races in Mexico, okay. So more than 37 different languages and more dialects in the country are proofs against the racial unity of an ancient Mexican people's human life in Mexico is believed to be coeval with that of Asia, 10,000 BC or more. All right, this mixture of races and languages in Mexico, according to one school, is accounted for by immigration into Mexico of people from Atlantis. Immigration into Mexico from people from Atlantis, the lost continent, occupying the region now comprised by the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. So you're saying, oh, this is Atlantis. That the reason for all the mixture in Mexico is Atlantis. This continent is supposed got submerged in the ocean as a result of a series of earthquake shocks. In addition, there are 4 African theories, 7 Asiatic theories, 6 European theories about who you are here, Negro. Some say you come from Africa, some from Asia, some from Europe, all attributing the origin of the ancient Aztec civilization to immigrant ways from different countries and of different races in these continents. When they said themselves in a Papua, they're coming back home to their mountains and valleys, they knew they were coming back home to their origin. While these theories are mutually conflicting, yet they unmistakably prove that the Aztec culture and civilization are not autochthonous or original, but have an immigrant origin. Well, they would like to believe so because they want to claim the origin here. Everybody wants to claim your origin. All right. A further reason why accepting this theory is that Mexican traditions themselves claim that the ancestors come from far and beautiful country. They even say Montezuma said he came from a place where there was white people. Which Montezuma? Which one? Maybe he did. Who knows? We're just surfing away. But check it. But the presence of hundreds and thousands of people with Hindu and Mongol features following Hindu religions, customs, worship of Hindu gods, Ganesha, Idris, and others. The Hindu education code system of priesthood, marriage customs, observance cremation, and even sutti, definitely prove that Hindus and Mongols did migrate to America in large numbers by land and sea. Well, we know that. We know we were hijacked. Oh, we know that. All right. We're going to get more in this Hindu America, man. We're going to make our dismount with this wonderful queen in Australia, man. Remember, we just, you know what I'm saying, looked up, remember when we talked about Australia. We're talking Australia. When we're talking Australia, we're talking the inland. We're talking land of Benjamin Suck, 535 AD, y'all. Gad, Ophir. So there's a lot of indigenous drop in Australia. And we're going to get to the bottom of it, man. Love to everybody that's been surfing this wave with us, man, from day one. On the real, love to the relaxing piano and heart music. Subscribe to Meditative Mind, meditation music. Let's get our dismount going on. This is coming right out of Australia, man. This is right off the press. Shout out to NITV News. Subscribe. Let's go. Stay up, suit up.
Protest against the treatment of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The First Nations Women of Australia ceremonial walk for freedom will set off on Monday and expects to arrive in the capital 6 weeks later. But their protest won't end there, with the group then planning to renounce their Australian citizenship and hand back their birth certificates and driver's licences to the Attorney-General. I spoke to Auntie Susan Rankin to find out more about their plans.
Yeah, Natalie, look, as mothers, grandmothers, sisters, aunties, we just can't bear the pain anymore of the pain and suffering of our people and Mother Earth. We're tired of putting our trust and faith in a system that is the cause of our people's pain and suffering. The walk is called First Nations Ceremonial Women's Walk for Freedom, and we say freedom from an alien law system that is not of our own choosing. As Aboriginal people, we are a spiritual people. We are bound by the first law for this land, and it is spiritual, and it is universal through the universal rule of natural law, and I can't be a part of this system anymore. There's a whole group of us that will be denouncing or rescinding ourselves from this system.
So just to clarify, you are planning on giving up your Australian citizenship?
That's right, love. Australian citizenship. I mean, Australian? Who are the aliens here? We are the first people, the sovereign people to these lands. Australian citizenship, that was not a choice for me. They did not ask me, did I want to become a citizen of an illegal occupying government that does not have a legal jurisdiction? I've done no swearing-in ceremony. I have not sworn my allegiance to this system and its laws. I'm swearing my allegiance to the first law, Creator Spirit's law. They want to call him all different kind of language names. There's only one Creator Spirit, so I've had enough, love. I can't bear it anymore.
There are experts out there that say under law that you simply can't give up your citizenship and that the government won't recognise it. Does that deter you at all?
Not at all, darling. We are bound, again, by the first law, spiritual law, the universal rule of natural law. They want to base the Constitution upon the 10 Commandments. Then they can give back what they stole to our people. We're a free people. None of us should be paying rent on our inheritance that's given to us by birthright for free. Whatever they say, it means nothing to me because they do not even have a legal jurisdiction in a land that they still technically cannot produce the documents of consent for, free of duress and any undue influence. So it does not matter what they say. I don't want their money, I don't want their system. I'll walk out with the clothes upon my back and put faith in Creator Spirit and Mother Earth through nature to provide for me like they always did in the past. If I have to be the fool to step out front and lead the way and lead our people out of this system, then so be it.
And after you get to Canberra, Auntie, and you've renounced your citizenship, what is the plan then?
My plan is to go back out, occupy all vacant land, all state parks, natural reserves, and set them up as self-sufficient, self-sustainable, dry healing camps, creating our own economy through ecotourism. We have the gifts, the skills, the brains within our own culture to do this. Independent from government funding. As long as we need government funding, that is the chains around our neck.